What up, y'all? DCFAYGOGUY. Today, we're going to be reviewing the brand new Super Famous Funtime Guys album, They Wouldn't Let Us Film Here, Volume 1, which as of right now isn't out on streaming. The only way people are listening to this album right now is if they were at Camp Zool and picked up a Camp Zool variant of the album. The regular version is available for pre-order right now on funtimegig.com. Should ship, I think it says by the 13th. Maybe, which should be this coming Friday as of when I'm filming this. So you can pre-order it right now if you want to. It should be dropping on streaming at some point. This album right here is absolutely amazing. This is an outtakes album. This is essentially their version of Forgotten Freshness. This is songs that they've had that weren't finished. Maybe they didn't fit the vibe of an album, or maybe they felt it didn't fit the vibe of an album, so they left it off. Some of it is results of just having fun in the studio, just different things like that. And they've all been put together here on this album right here. And if you ask me, and I think if you ask a few people that I've talked to, they don't even think that this is really like an outtakes album. All of these songs are really good and still make a really solid record. And I am definitely in that camp of saying that. I think this album is really awesome. One thing about this album that I was curious about going into the release is whether or not they would put any of the tracks from White Background Canceled Music. If you don't know about that, White Background Canceled Music was an album that they were working on. It was going to be called White Background Terrible Music. They completely scrapped that and started over and then came out with Don't Hug Me From the Front. The reason they did that is White Background Terrible Music was going to be essentially their ode to the wicked shit. It was going to be a dark album. They decided they didn't want to put that kind of album out as their debut for Long Live Evil. Completely understand that. So going into this, I had that thought, will we see any of those tracks make it here? They're not here. And honestly, they don't really need to be because White Background Canceled Music exists. You can go buy it on funtimegig.com. If it's out of stock right now, be patient. I'm sure at some point they will restock it. They tend to do that every so often. They'll restock albums. So that album exists. There's really no point for those tracks to make it here. So, and you can even do what I did. I actually went into my iTunes and separated the finished songs from the unfinished songs. The unfinished songs are now White Background Canceled Music, and the finished ones are an album I made up of White Background Terrible Music. It's basically the outro that plays after ALL. I put it at the beginning and made it its own little intro, and then all of the tracks in the order of the track list that are finished play, and that is White Background Terrible Music, the EP. Is what I did. So I understand them not putting any of those songs here because that album does exist. That being said, one thing I want to talk about that they did with this album, with the ooftroo. The ooftroo is them essentially fitting this album into the canon of their adventure, their journey into their timeline, right? And what they did with it is actually create two timelines. If you've listened to I'll Tell You When I Want to Laugh by Laughing, the intro there, you hear Eight Legs at the end say, well, we'll just have to bring him along with, because if we don't, that's probably just going to create like an alternate timeline and shit, and we don't really have the budget for that. He says that line, which that tells me when that album was being put together, they already had this in the works and probably already had the intro. Maybe I'm wrong, but if they didn't already have that grander scheme in play, Jesus Christ, excellent execution on this album. But what they did with ooftroo on this album is they created an alternate timeline. The ooftroo starts and it plays, you know, that same part where Legs says that they have to bring the album with because it'll create an alternate dimension or alternate timeline, and they don't have the budget for that. Keegan Grin comes in as kind of like this narrator, and he says, well, looks like they did have the budget. Or what they did not realize is they actually do have the budget. What they do with it is yet to be seen. I totally butchered that. Paraphrase like a motherfucker. And then it like goes back, and at the end you have the album says, hi guys, and then Eight Legs is like, no. He pulls the disc out, he throws it out the window, and Whipstick's like, what are you doing? We were gonna make people cry with that record. They basically take the timeline of I'll Tell You When I Want to Laugh by Laughing and threw it out the window, quite literally. So now we have an unseen timeline from that point forward. And I love that, because when I Tell You When I Want to Laugh by Laughing came out, it left me And I feel like it probably left a lot of people wondering what's next for the Super Famous Funtime guys. That album, with the skits, with kind of the lore of that album, they were really kind of questioning their existence, if you will. They were really kind of questioning, what are we doing? The album was constantly questioning them and the skits. Like, why do people take you serious? Why are you guys like this? No wonder people can't stand you. And when the disc kills itself at the end, which if you have not listened to that album, go listen to it because I'm spoiling the shit out of it. The album kills itself at the end and we are left with both of them shocked. And Whipstick, he ends off that skit and really ends off that album with, I don't really know where to go from here. And that was so impactful. That line of him saying that, and then going into Sot to Nelf, going into I don't know, might cry later, it left me wondering what is next. Is this their way of saying they're killing off the goofy gimmick that they have and they're going to be more serious? What's next? So with Ooftro, they kind of, they Thanos snapped that shit. They literally, we oofed this. We're going back to this now. I love that they called it Ooftro because it's an oof moment of like, oh, this happened, but oof, we're going to shove you into this timeline now. So now we have an unseen timeline of what the Super Famous Funtime guys could have been like if they took themselves more seriously. And I'm just going to say this, in my own headcanon, in that unseen timeline, they actually went back, finished White Background Terrible Music, put it out in its entirety, gave the ode to the wicked shit, and from that point forward, they took themselves serious. They still had the elements of, being goofy and fun, but they took themselves way more serious. They dropped the whole we suck gimmick, we're whack gimmick. They went full serious with it and fucking, yeah. So in my own head, that's what happened. But, I wanted to point that out because that's seriously something I've been thinking about. And that's something I do. I'm imaginative like a motherfucker. The homie Ronebone from Beneath the Dirt told me one time, and I wish I still had the text because I would flash it up here. He said, and I'm paraphrasing, he said something along the lines of, if I ever told you that you have the wild imagination of a stoner, something along those lines. And I was like, you've never told me that, but I can see it because I do. I overthink so much shit. There's a lot of times that artists will put out albums, they'll put out shit, and I'm immediately connecting it to something else. I'm like, all right, in my own head, this exists in this world. Because I think we were talking about the 6th when they first were teasing it. And, he made the joke about it being Shadowland. And I was like, well, that could just mean that the Oracles and the Joker cards exist in the same world. That was when he then said that remark of, you have the imagination of a stoner that doesn't smoke. So that was a great, funny moment. But this album, absolutely fucking great. I am going to go through and I'm going to play you all of the tracks so that you can hear it. That way you can make the decision right now to go pre-order it. That way you have it when it comes out. Again, it should start shipping within the next week. I believe it said the 13th, which I think next week is the 13th. If I'm incorrect on that, I will correct it. But I'm pretty sure that was the dates. But it should be this coming next Friday. But let's go ahead and play the tracks for you right now.
Well. Looks like these Funtime boys are at it again. Oodalali, what will these rascals get into next? All manners of mischief and mayhem, no doubt. But what they didn't understand is that they did indeed have the budget. But what they do with it, well, that remains to be seen.
What we have in store, overboard, overboard, we keep it overboard.
Overboard, no Goldie Hawn. Sand in this boat that I'm flowing on. So gross that I fall with a low blow. Couldn't see the weight of the hate get broke. I'm gone. One rock coming. Get stuff in an unlocked project. Finding your life online with a track on the keyboard and speedboard.
Came to capture the whole game. Twisted like varicose veins. Mental misfits, snapping pictures of bitches. I'm playing a go main. Taking them home, making them homemade. Antiques and furniture is what they'll turn into. It's so great.
One to the neck, one to the head, one to the chest, paint everything red. All I'll say is that's my favorite. Screaming at the wall, I'm being creative.
Was it too awfully stressful to figure out your schedule? I'll come here, time to make you all red like Deadpool.
I just wanna see you fleshless, sprawled out on the floor. You used to leave me breathless. it's no more, no more.
Anything that you want, anything that you need, anything in the world, you can find it at Shades.
They call me the friggin' the shakes. I won't even try to deny it. It's friggin' obscene. I'm picking the beat up. I'm flicking the screen up at the casino. The middle of the evening with a practice burrito. Ain't no order food. Fuck your mother. Run up on a motherfucker. 2 in the morning. I'm so in the sun of pain, choking her throat on as I explain. Then it's like that old saying. I wanted to take her breath away.
Call me Mr. Kemper, let's take it back to December. Do you remember meeting during that fender bender? When you agreed to getting dinner with me as you fighting back tremors? Told you can get this. 2 decades, how long it's been now since we met? How long we've been down and I can't get a message read. So much for pen pals, I know that's quite a stretch. That you're in town, I'm sure you're updated on everything I've been about, every road I've been down, every little negative, just hoping I would settle with.
Hate on the play again. Wait, there's a payment is $8.99 a month only if you're okay with it. Only their subscription. We're going on an OnlyFans adventure. We're risking. You've got expendable income in this song. Thank you for the OnlyFans subscription.
Aggression is used as a method and you get selected for abuse and correction. Used as a necklace of useless intestines, the few is amusing that you've been accepted.
Think I didn't see the glamour in? Like he's so out of touch and don't give a fuck about the fans of them? I say shove it up your ass, but that ain't managing. Rather lift your skirt, show you a bitch and jam a hammer in. Make you the little repugnant popsicle of a pussy. We're all aware that you are, now sit straight.
Why cannibal and clap cheeks? And you end up in my backseat. Don't pretend you can't pass me because you're just a ghost and your death was only last week.
Like a mermaid out in the bowl. We're pretty far cause you're swimming the show. I bet them ditties gonna cause you to flow. No place to go, it's the implication. So are you ever gonna give me some head, maybe some neck? Soon you'll be swabbing my deck. Got a burlap sacked up.
How can I leave? How can I breathe? Finally be free of this dark and this evil residing in me. So I let it in cause I needed release.
I'm so over seeking closure. I just don't believe. If I'm sober, the pain will slow up and drop this hold on me.
I devour a coward as he pleads for his soul. I snatch his mind out of his skull and then I swallow it whole. Got a sack full of heads, need food for the road. I'm screaming long live evil till my being corrodes, bitch.
It's all me. I love it cause another piece is caught up in my teeth. I need the point of that back when I snap in your radio crash. I'm jumping on a sack. I need all of your knowledge in this.
Cause it numbs the pain as the day goes on.
2005, that's when all of this started. My life was just beginning, but I had been in the darkness. I was drugged out in my cousin's basement, pacing, blazing, waiting on him to get back from work so we could keep on making garbage. But once he went back to Jersey, it hurt me. So the homies and I kept working, determined to turn me. Take the game up and kill and stuff this bitch like taxidermy. Proved it.
Some will just come and go without no rhyme or reason. I know deep in my soul won't stop me cause they're leaving.
Keep in mind when you travel down them old roads, all those bad memories that you hold close, they were never meant to be. We all grow, keep your pointer and pinky fingers up like a goalpost.
It's all started with the best intentions. I guess that's the reason.
So that you guys could hear how great that shit was, right? So a lot of great fucking dope shit. Again, I absolutely love this album from front to back. I can't find a single song on here that I don't like. I can't find a single song that I skip. Let's jump into my top 5 tracks. And this one was a little bit difficult to do. So my top 5 tracks, obviously Breathless. I'm a fucking emo guy. I empathize. I get sad boy when I don't even need to be sad boy. I could be in a good mood, listen to a sad boy shit and just feel sad. That's just me. So Breathless was a standout. Let It Rest was in there. Sober is in there. As the Day Goes On is in there, and Goalpost. And my favorite, absolute fucking favorite, is Goalpost. Now, if I didn't show you guys this, but I'm not going to show you guys this because you should just buy the album. There is a QR code in here, much like there is for I'll Tell You When I Want to Laugh by Laughing. It takes you to an unlisted video that the Fun Time guys put out. It's basically the credits. They go through and they talk about what the different songs were from, what they were meant to be on. And Breathless and Goalpost were originally supposed to be on Don't Hug Me From the Front, which makes absolute sense listening to them. And for me, I absolutely love knowing that. I love listening to that because it confirms for me kind of the concept of that album and the title song from that album. For me, Don't Hug Me From the Front, as goofy and silly as it sounds, like, oh, embrace me from behind. To me, I felt like there was a double meaning there. And to me, especially listening to the title track, it was anyone you've had a falling out with, like, fuck off. You don't get to hug me. You can kiss my ass. Hug me from the back and kiss my ass was essentially where my head was at with it. The homies from Deck One Dealt, they did an episode prior to Camp Zool where they were listening to Don't Hug Me From the Front. And that was actually something Keezy asked, is what everyone thought that the meaning was for that song. And in the chat, I had then said what I think my meaning is for it.
So what do you think's the moral of the song? They're just saying like you ain't good enough friends with me.
DCFAYGO guy said, my take on it is, if you fall out from someone, don't hug me, kiss my ass.
Oh, okay.
So don't hug me from the front, kiss my ass.
I see.
So listening to Goalpost and listening to Breathless, to me, it really kind of confirmed where my head was at. Goalpost, I absolutely love so goddamn much. Like, at the beginning of the album, Whipstick says we were going to make people cry. This shit hits me in the fucking feels because I have had so many fucking people, and I'm sure everybody can relate to it in a way. I've had so many people come and go in my life that, you know, sometimes it's hard when I meet new people to immediately think, like, are you going to be in my life forever, or are we eventually going to part ways? So, you know, listening to this song fucking hits me deep, and god damn it, I'm tearing up. You know, it hits me in the fucking feels because, like, I've had so many people come and go in my life that when I meet new people, I kind of have a wall up, you know, and a lot of times because of that trauma, I oftentimes will get in my head. And it's incredible that this album came out at camp and I was literally going through some of those experiences. And Jesus, you know, I didn't get to listen to the album until after camp was over. I didn't bring any kind of way to rip it, to put it on my phone. So I literally had to wait until we were back from camp to do that. And I didn't even listen to it till the Tuesday after camp was over. But yeah, just such a coincidence that I was going through some like emotional trauma from my past. And this song was on here the whole time. Stray, listen, Stray, if you're watching, why? Why do you have to be so fucking amazing? He gets on that shit and he's singing his goddamn heart out. And that's usually where it starts hitting me really hard in the feels. Because I feel like listening to 8 Legs' verse, listening to the chorus, listening to Whipstick's verse, like it's more of a, like, to me, it's more of an angry, like, you know, especially listening to 8 Legs where he's like, if we ever cross paths, you won't get to hug me. Front, side, back, whatever, just don't touch me. Like that to me is like an aggressive thing. But then you get to the end and you have fucking Stray just singing his fucking heart out. Like, Stray, why? Why you gotta be so amazing, dude? Dial it back a little bit. Actually, don't dial it back. Keep it up, dude, because you're fucking killing it. Stray is all over this album, and I absolutely love it that, you know, him and the Fun Time guys have met with each other, and, you know, through that, I've been able to meet, I've met Stray at camp, listening to his music. I just think he's amazing, and I can't wait to see what he does. I can't wait to see what Fun Time does with us. Listen, my brain's fucking, it's like pudding right now. I can't wait to see what they do with Stray, you know. If you don't know, at camp, they finally made him like an official Fun Time Gang honorary member. If you don't know what Fun Time Gang is, it's like the extended Fun Time guys. McNasty's part of it. I think Shakeless used to be part of it, or was. And then is it Dirty? Was Dirty part of that? I don't know. I know he performed with them, and he had like a luchador mask with the shark fin, which was really fucking cool. Because if you don't get that, then you need to look into dirty, figure out why they call him the shark or the land shark. But I know McNasty is. I know Dubs was at one point. And then it was either Dirty, Shakeless. I think it was Shakeless. Now I'm remembering. I don't fucking remember. My brain's pudding right now. But they did give Stray a mask. He performed with his mask, and he is official Funtime Gang. He's the extended, super famous Funtime guys. And somewhere down the line, I wonder if Dubs will come back from his sabbatical. And I'm only imagining what kind of record we're going to fucking hear with Dubs and Stray together. That shit's going to be mind-blowing. But yeah, Stray, he's all over this album. He absolutely fucking kills it. And, you know, I think that this album parallels, I'll tell you when I want to laugh, by laughing so much in the aspect of, you know, Stray is on it. And I think there's some serious toned tracks on this. I actually did like an experiment. I took Breathless, I took Sober, and I took Goalpost. These were all three originally meant for Don't Hug Me From the Front, or they were recorded before that album. And I believe 8 said that they were at one point intended for it. I remember him saying Breathless was, and I know Goalpost was originally supposed to be the closer for Don't Hug Me. So I made a playlist where what I did is I literally just took those three songs and I added them to the end of Don't Hug Me. So you get to I Like My Friends, and once that ends, it just continues into Breathless, then Sober, and then Goalpost. And honestly, listening to those songs in the full context of Don't Hug Me From the Front, I have to agree they don't fit on that album, because I feel like these are a much deeper sound. And at that time, I don't think they were fully dipping their toes into that. They were a little bit on K. They had on K. The title track K is super fucking deep. That one hits me in the feels too. So that one was super deep. They did a little bit with White Background, but it didn't technically come out. So I think, you know, looking at it now, I don't think it really fit Don't Hug Me. And not only that, but if it had come out on Don't Hug Me From the Front, the version that's on this album and the one that they would have put out for Don't Hug Me would not have been the same. Not at all. The one we have now has Stray on it. Goalpost, Sober, Breathless, they all have Stray. That, to me, I think was a missing key. So I think they made the right decision on not putting it on that album. And for it to sit and fester like it did, and then we get it in this version, I think is the way it was supposed to be. Now, I'm not one of those, like, higher power, this is God's will. I'm not one of those kind of people. But it was like it was meant to be for them not to put the songs out prior to this. I think once Stray got his magic touch on them, the songs we got now are amazing. But I do think, you know, there is like an unseen timeline. I guess technically there isn't an unseen timeline on that case, is there? Because they didn't oof it until recently. But yeah, fucking absolutely love Goalpost. It's absolutely my favorite. There are a few other tracks I want to talk about. This is going to turn into a lengthy review, guys. So strap yourselves in. As the Day Goes On, basically like a love letter to the fans. And when I listened to this, don't get me wrong, the Joker did absolutely wonderful on this. I think he did great. He did fine on the chorus. But my head, I'm out there thinking of an alternate timeline where instead of Joker on the chorus, we have Low Key. This song kind of reminded me of the song off of Dedicated, I Remember, which is kind of Low Key's love letter to his fans. I'm imagining the full circleness of Low-Key being on the chorus of As the Day Goes On. Both 8 and Whipstick mention Loke in their verses because, you know, he's such an important part of their journey that I just think it would, I'm just imagining what that song would be like. I imagine it would be just as great, if not greater, to have Loke on the chorus fucking singing and then maybe have a verse from Low-Key. Like, my head's like, damn, like, I kind of want to see the universe where that version of the song came out. And I don't think that that was ever going to be the plan at any point. Originally, As the Day Goes On was supposed to be the ending track for Mom's Not Offended, She's Concerned. And I think the plan was always to have Joker on it. But I'm just imagining a world where instead of Joker, we had Loki on that song. You know, maybe even a remix down the road, guys. Wink, wink. maybe we get low key on that chorus and get a verse from him. That would be pretty fucking dope. And I know I'm not alone in that sentiment. I know there's people sounding off in the comments right now saying, yo, I want that version of the song too. I think for a lot of people, we want to hear the Super Famous Fun Time guys and Low Key together. And I know there are occasions of it. I know they've been on a cypher together. But I want to hear like them put out an album or him put out an album where they're features on each other's albums, because they are so, their worlds are so intertwined. You know, Whipstick was the hype man for Loke for a long time. 8 Legs did art for Loke for a long time. And that's how Whipstick and 8 Legs met. If you don't know the story, there you go. So, you know, I'm waiting for that full circle moment. And I've actually one time asked Whipstick about it. And he said, like, they want to. They're trying. You know, schedules, timelines. It's all about the right timing. So someday we're going to get it. And it's going to be amazing, I think. Just because. But yeah, jumping into another song I want to talk about, Let It Rest. This song I've been waiting to listen to for weeks now. Like prior to Camp Zool. I was waiting weeks for this. Whipstick randomly hit me up one day. He said, pick a number between 1 and 14. Well, in numerology, I'm a 7. In numerology, Megs is a 7. We met and started dating on the 7th month of the year. July 23rd is our anniversary. That's when we got married. So 7 is a big number for Megs and I. So I picked 7, which is Let It Rest. Whipstick sends me the song. I listen to it. I go to listen to it again, and it disappears. He unsent it. He gave me a taste of that song. So ever since that moment, I've been waiting to hear this song again. I absolutely fucking love it. Jumping back to what I said about me being emo, about me being a sad boy, that shit fucking hits me hard. I do think it's kind of ironic that I picked it because of Megs and I's numerology, and the song's basically about, you know, letting a past relationship rest, burying it, moving on from it, and never turning back. That's another song that I feel like very well could have fit on Don't Hug Me From the Front, but it was, I believe, if I remember correctly, they said that was around the Mom's Not Offended time frame. So it was never intended for that. It's just, you know, 8 Legs had some personal shit that came back up. He got it out, and, you know, Whipstick never added to it, which honestly, I don't think 8 Legs, I don't think Whipstick needed to. I think this was a song that was really just for 8 Legs to put out there. And I think there's so many people in the world that can relate to that, you know, having someone toxic from your past, or just someone in your past that you've moved on from, they resurface. It's like, no, let's not do this. Let's keep that buried. Like, let's let it rest. Let's just farewell, my friend. So that was absolutely another great one. Man, I could probably sit and talk about this album all fucking day, but yeah. And then Breathless, same fucking shit. You know, it very well fits the theme of Don't Hug Me. You know, it fits that whole kind of message there of like, you used to leave me breathless, but now it's no more. And then again, fucking Stray on that goddamn hook, singing his fucking heart out. Why you gotta do that, Stray? Why? Dial it back just a hair, just a little bit. Just a little bit. Or dial it up a little bit more. I don't know. Do something with it, man. But fucking Stray's amazing. And I'm so glad that they're all friends. I'm so glad he's part of Funtime Gang. And, you know, I got to do my review for Cloudy Alibi. I finally bought that CD from him. And I'm going to do a full-fledged review for it. Because I'm doing a disservice to Stray into that album by not doing that review. Because Stray fucking kills it. And I'm excited for him. I'm excited for his upcoming projects. I'm excited for the new Novels album. I think I'm going to wrap this up, though. I've kind of rambled on at certain points. Again, this album is absolutely great. This doesn't feel like a scrapped album. It feels like everything fits very well enough together. So if you have listened to the album, if you were at camp, tell me down below what you liked about the album. If you have not heard it because you weren't at camp, when the album comes out, give it a listen. Come back and tell me what you love about the album. If you don't care for the album, you can tell me what you don't like about the album as well. Just remember to be respectful. Anyway, thank you guys for watching. I will see you guys next time.